Hello and welcome, my slippery giggle chumps. How you doing this wonderful day? It's SJB here, and this is a very odd video. Today we're going to be discussing Battles 2 in Bloons Tower Defense 6. And you might know this by now, but this is a preemptive video. Battles 2 isn't out yet. I hope you guys are okay with that. Unless you're watching this in about 6 months, then it'll be out. So, please let me know what you guys think about this video and whether or not you like things like this, because I'm getting really pumped up and really excited for Battles 2, and I like having some fun with this. So in this video, what I want to talk about is everything we know about Battles 2, when it's going to be released, and I want to discuss some popular strategies and things we should probably think about when preparing for this game. So, the main thing you got to know about the strategy is that right now, there's only 4 heroes going to be in the game at launch. So there's just going to be the 4 base heroes here. All the other heroes are expected to come to the game, but not at launch. That's going to be a big deal for us. So let's make one strategy for every single one of our starting heroes and see if we can have some fun doing it like that. So because this is sort of a weird concept of a video, if you guys really don't like this, you can let me know by disliking the video or just letting me know in the comments that you don't like this at all. But if you think this is cool and this is fun, I would highly recommend you press that like button and make sure you subscribe so you can get all the updates about anything that's going to be coming up in the game very, very soon. The game will be launched somewhere in the end of 2021. That means this year, in less than 6 months. I'm going to suspect it's probably going to launch in the mid to end of November, because that's when GW likes to launch things, either in June or near Christmas time, right before Christmas break, because that's whenever he has time to play games and stuff. So that's my prediction for when it's going to launch. And the main difference between Battles 1 and Battles 2 is not going to be the lives, the gameplay, or anything. It's all going to be about strategy, because basically we're switching from BTD 5 towers into BTD 6 towers. And with BTD 6 towers comes more strategy, because now we have 3 different paths that we can upgrade through and a lot more combinations to go through rather than just building a tower and either going left or right. You have so many different options, so many different opportunities to play with different things. And another thing you got to know is that there's going to be a hero and 3 other towers. So those 3 towers that you pick are going to be very important for your strategy. You have to make sure that they not only can pop balloons, but pop all different types of balloons, pop camo balloons, pop regen balloons, and even if you're thinking late game, popping things like Oh My Gods, a bad balloon, and DDTs. All of those are tricky things to pop, very crazy to deal with, and we're talking about dealing with these things by about round 30 to 32. Dealing with bads and DDTs at 30 to 32. So we're expecting this game to be fairly rushed. You are going to lose, hopefully, before you go late game. I think that's Ninja Kiwi's ideology about the game, unless you play the longest maps in the game, and really just chill and try to go eco the entire time. So my first strategy is going to involve Quincy here, and I'm going to show you guys the 3 towers that I think are going to work really, really well, and why. We're talking about the Banana Farm, the Boomerang, and the Dartling Gun. Now, the reason why I picked these 3 towers as my strategy is because they are going to work really, really well together. When you really just look at what Quincy is good against, he's good at kind of decent amount of just kind of regular balloons. So, if, for example, somebody's sending out Bloon Eco against you or tries to rush you, maybe there's going to send out a bunch of red balloons against you, and maybe even there's regular rounds coming out like round 1 or round 3 or round 5 coming out against you, and that's exactly what Quincy is good for. And he's a pretty cheap hero at a measly, what, $550, something like that, so you can throw him down pretty fast in the game. That means we're going to have a lot of extra money to play around with, and I think the main thing we want to do with that money is try to get more money with it. So we're going to do a Quincy, and then we're going to try to build a banana farm pretty much as fast as we possibly can here. And what that banana farm is going to do is make us extra money for the rest of the game. Use that money to make more money, to make more money, to make more money, to make more money, and eventually we've got lots and lots of money. Yeah, I mean, that's all delicious there. But we're also going to need something that's good against regen balloons, which is where we have our first issue. Quincy is literally terrible against regen balloons. So we send out something like regen zebras or something like that, or regen rainbows. I mean, we're just going to like get annihilated by these guys. We're going to be able to do nothing against these guys, even with Quincy at a reasonably high level here. He's going to suck against them, especially if somebody does a rod, a regrow rainbow rush of doom against you. We're not going to be able to handle those. So we're going to need something that can. I think one of the top tier towers for grouped balloons and regen balloons, it's got to be that boom boom. Top path, glaive, ricochet, maybe move up to a more glaives or something like that. Those big regen rainbow rushes, maybe not stopped automatically by a boomerang, but going to do much, much, much better against them. And I still think this is going to be a top-tier tower for a lot of strategies, by the way, so keep that in mind. Then if you ever really need that extra boost, you can get that more glaives with fast throwing or whatever, and you're going to help yourself out a lot. So that's where the boomerang comes in. Pretty good at the early game, kind of get yourself flowing over here, but still has those high 5th tier upgrades that are like reasonably cheap, but pretty effective, you know? And then we go to the Dartling gun. So we notice that Quincy does have camo detection, but he's, again, not good against camo regens, and we can't just rely on your hero as your only camo detection, especially while you've got banana farms on the screen. Right, so now we're going to be thinking about something a little bit different. We're going to need some camo detection over here, and the Dartling gun is literally one of the best camo detection towers in the game because you got 2 awesome paths for camo detection. You can get either a Hydro Rocket Pods or Rip Balloons, or if you're feeling it, feeling funky fresh or something like that, you can go for a laser cannon with faster barrel spin. And both of these guys are going to be fantastic for camos, good against group balloons, have a lot of versatility for, you know, the middle rounds of the game, round 12, 13, 14, and 15. So I think that this is going to be a top-tier strategy for a lot of people to play around with. We're talking boomerangs, we're talking farms, and we're talking Dartling guns here. These guys are going to be the combo to go for, and they're going to be great. I would like to reiterate that this is all predictive, and I could be 100% completely wrong about all of this. But I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on my ideas, and I'd like to hear your ideas as well. What is your top-tier strategy going to involve? So the next thing we've got to deal with is GWendolyn. And if I'm not mistaken, she is the most expensive of the 4 original heroes. So that means we're going to need something that we can start off this game with, and we're going to need something for the late game here as well, or we're going to need something for sort of just allowing our hero to do that extra damage that she can do. And that's why this is my pick for my best GWendolyn strategy in Bloons TD Defense 6. It might look weird right when you look at it here, like, what are you doing here, Chris? This looks funky. But if you add these guys together, you're going to have a super squad team. And the main towers that I'm thinking that are going to work really, really well together are going to be our Dartling gun and GWendolyn. Not Dartling gun. Our Dart Monkey and GWendolyn. The reason why is the Dart Monkey is great as a starting tower. So you can kind of just get this guy up to a quick triple shots with sharp shots or long range for even that extra cam detection here. Allow yourself to do a great job defending here while GWendolyn just sort of chills and pops balloons. The main thing that's kind of problematic with a lot of these guys is when you have big rushes of, I don't know, rainbows or something like that. Usually that is pretty difficult to... Oh, we want 25 rainbows. When you have big, gigantic rushes of these guys, they're very difficult to pop, but that's where GWendolyn really shines here. You're going to notice that her abilities are going to help pop a lot of those rushes. And that's where, again, she's going to shine and do a great job for us. Of course, this wasn't a perfect example because I don't really have any other towers at this point, but that ability is going to keep you in the game for a long, long time. So, I think what you need to do is have a good 2 early game starting towers like GWendolyn and a Dart Monkey to kind of keep yourself going in here. Go income for kind of the rest of the game. And then the middle part of the game might be a little funky fresh. You're going to need something to slow down the balloons. We're thinking like a glue splatter with corrosive glue. Or if they start sending out ceramics against you, you can go for that balloon dissolver and just insta-kill them all, right? Kind of just pick between the two or something like that. You could go fancier if you want to go late game here with a Moab glue or relentless glue. And even fancier, I went for the wizard. Now this is where it gets fresh, because I think the wizard is going to be one of the best towers in BTD Battles 2 by far. I think every single upgrade is going to have some very reasonable things to do here, and that's why it's going to work really, really well with these guys. Major issue is that they don't have purple popping power in a lot of situations, so both the fire and the wizard don't have that, but that's where the Dart Monkey and the glue gunner can come into play and just sort of hopefully edge ourselves over the course of this game and make that worthwhile for us. But we do have ways to pop purple balloons, and we do have a good amount of things that we can do. For example, the unpopped army is going to be a great combo with these guys if you get them in the right spot. Add that into a wall of fire, guided magic, and boom, you've got a nice, good setup for pretty much everything that's going to be coming out against you. In addition, we're going to need something for late game. So if we have Moabs coming out, we're going to need an arcane spike or something like that. I think this is one of the best medium-tier good Moab poppers in the game, where we can kind of just deal with Moabs, deal with camo balloons, deal with everything besides pretty much purples. All right, so work on this, think about this, and I think this is going to be a great combo for you guys. I definitely feel like Striker Jones is going to be a very map-dependent hero. He's not going to be good all the time, and you have to pick very specific towers that are going to be good with him. But I think in this scenario, if you do it right, this will be a sexy strategy. We're talking about the cannon, we're talking about the mortar, we're talking about Striker Jones, and we're talking heli, baby. Now, the reason why we're picking a heli here, in addition, is yes, he's a little bit expensive, and he can't. And these guys cannot pop black balloons early on, so we're expecting to have to start with a heli or get a heli right from the get-go and work into a Striker Jones. Or a Striker Jones and work right into a heli kind of very quickly in here. Might hurt our income a little bit, but then once we get to the mid and late game, we're pretty much unstoppable. This guy pops any sort of black balloons that you need to worry about, and then you can kind of just mix and match with some mortars and cannons that can pop black balloons a little bit. But once you get Striker Jones up to a certain level, then you can start to pop black balloons anyways, and this helipod's going to be less important as time goes on. But this will be a super solid strategy on maps where there's a lot of random spots where you can do really well with explosions. Overall, though, I'm really excited for this. You just have to definitely watch out for lots and lots of black balloons. If you don't have that heli, you're pretty much screwed. And I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure, that they're going to continue to have black balloons coming in on round 6, which is pretty early in the game for us to deal with here. But I'm really excited to see how this is going to work out. Of course, you have to use cannons and mortars with this Striker Jones here to make him actually worthwhile. Otherwise, you pretty much don't get much out of him. There's not very much of a reason to deal with them. Another thing to keep in mind is that the later you go, this is again a late game hero, the later you go, the better off you're going to be. Getting more range, more pierce, more bonuses, getting abilities that literally help out your mortars and cannons here, making your Moab Assassins just literally ridiculously strong, by the way. Yeah, heck yeah, get those guys and you're freaking set over here. But the one that we do have to worry about is we're going to either have to rely on Signal Flare to do a lot of our cam detection or combine it with some sort of Razor Rotors with IFR, which I think is probably going to be a very solid combo to start off with. Get one of each of these guys, and even if they rush you with huge amounts of camos, this will decamos a lot, and this will kind of clean up anything that's left over here. It still leaves yourself open for a lot of really late-game gameplay, though, and that's why I love this strategy. I will 100% admit that this is one of those really weird ones that, like, I'm not entirely sure is going to work out, but I want to believe. I really want to believe that this is going to be a super solid and sexy strategy for us to play with. We're talking about Oben in combination with Druids and an Alchemist, but also, in addition, we're going to need something that has full camo detection. So we could use a lot of different things. You know, if you have water on a map, you could use something like a Submergent Support and completely rely on it for camo detection. Maybe with a little bit of support from Oben or something like that with his trees or his vines. But what I was thinking is just the village. You know, you have to spend at least a decent amount of money to get this village and to get it up to radar scanner, but then you know for the rest of the game you are literally set. There will be zero issues for camo balloons for the rest of the game, and because you're going to have so much ridiculous amounts of popping power, you're going to be totally set. I do wonder if the Alchemist should be traded out for something else, like a tack shooter, and just kind of rely on Druids to kind of be powered up by Oben instead. But I really like the idea of trying to get an Alchemist with 2 or 3 Druids by mid-game and just being literally unstoppable. Combine them together. You know, most of the time we get popless Druids. Kind of in groups, you know, 3 or 4 of them or something like that. But don't forget that you can do really weird stuff with Druids that a lot of people don't realize about. Like, we can get Heart of the Oak to completely stop regens from doing anything to us. Put them on Strong or Last here, and regens are, like, no longer an issue. Especially if it's the one really close to the entrance here. That would be fantastic. And if you really want to worry about, you know, getting rid of a lot of random balloons kind of all over the place and popping leads and all that other stuff, you can do another one of these guys with Heart of the Thunder. Also, in addition, Druids are going to be amazing because a lot of big rushes are going to involve ceramics or even camo ceramics. So getting just one Druid of the Jungle here in combination with other things that make them attack faster is going to be absolutely fantastic. And don't forget that the reason why this is all really, really working together very well is because the Alchemists make these guys so much stronger. Even gigantic regen rainbow rushes and stuff are going to be pretty breezy for us, I think. Let's upgrade Oben just a little bit over here. Let's get him up to level 8 or something like that. And we're going to send out some regen rainbows, and let's see what these guys can do. Oh, I sent out a crap ton of regen rainbows. I meant to send out like 50, And now I don't think we're going to pop them all, but I'm actually curious how good we're going to do against them still. I sent out 5 groups of 30, I think. All right, so a little too strong for us, but let's send out 30 regen rainbows this time. And let's see if we can take them down. I'd say that went fantastic, and that's a lot of regen rainbows. And I admit, we did spend a pretty decent amount of money here, but it was not insanity for what we're dealing with over here. So that is going to bring to conclusion my predictive strategies for Bloons TD Battles 2. Let me know again in the comments below what you guys think the best strategy in the game is going to be. There's obviously so many towers in the game, and there's literally unlimited possibilities. I cannot go through all of them. I cannot say that this is the strategy that we need to be using, but I think that this is something we have to keep in mind and keep all of these kind of fun little interesting strategies that we can kind of work well together with to make everything go good for us in Battles 2. Always thinking ahead is fantastic, and just keep in mind all these different combos that you can use are now going to be available in the game. It's going to make the game that much more strategic and that much more fun. If you guys enjoyed, press that like button, and of course, have a super duper delicious day.